Hey guys, welcome back to another YouTube episode here at Freedom Air. Of course, you're talking again with Joseph here, and the question today is, so you want to fly helicopters or you want to be an airplane pilot, and what's the difference between the two? Well, just my credibility to kind of help you out a little bit. As the helicopter guy, this is my helicopter now in helicopter operation with Freedom Air Helicopter Tours. But before that, I spent a 20-year career as a Black Hawk pilot. So I spent 20 years in the military flying Black Hawks, had a very successful career with it, loved the Black Hawks. Taught students my last 12 years as a pilot. I was an instructor in the military. So that's my credibility in helicopters, and there's so many wonderful things on helicopters that you just can't do with an airplane. So why would a helicopter guy want to transition to an airplane, or why would an airplane guy want to transition to a helicopter, or which path do you choose? It really depends on you. Are you looking for the adventure of flying? Are you looking to get from point A to point B? Those are the questions you have to ask yourself. For me, it's always been the love of flying, period. Whether it be an ultralight, whether it's a glider, an airplane, a helicopter. I'm really on the fence on hot air balloons. I don't think I'd ever want to pilot one of those because there's zero control. Where the wind blows you is where you get to go. So I'd rather have one of these two toys here. If I'm taking my family somewhere, over here, the fixed wing airplane. This is a Piper Aero Complex aircraft, which means it has a fixed pitch prop, and you can adjust the pitch in flight, and you can true it out and get a better bang for your buck, basically. It also has retractable landing gear, so it goes a little faster and decreases your drag. But the selling point on fixed wing is I fly all fixed wing. I fly multi-engine fixed wing, and about to be an airline pilot, so I can kind of talk to you about what the perks are on both. I have some good friends that are airline pilots already, but they've never been on the helicopter side, so I can give you 20 years, or not give you, but talk to you about 20 years worth of experience plus of flying helicopters. I have 1,000 hours in these. Being a tour pilot, being an instructor pilot, teaching folks how to fly from zero to hero. That's what I like to call it. If you've never flown a helicopter, what's it like, the joy of flying one? And the biggest key point of flying a helicopter is picking it up to a stable hover and just holding it in position. That is the hardest part for any pilot to initially master. Once you've mastered it, it's like riding a bicycle. It's always there with you. It may be 5 years since you've hovered, but when I put you back in the bird, you can hover again. So the differences between, helicopter pilot versus airplane pilot. Airplane pilot, the joy of that is you can get from A to B a lot quicker, for sure. Let's just take this plane, for example, the Piper Aero. This one here probably cruises right around the 130 mark. I haven't flown this particular plane, but I've flown many of them like it. So if I want to get to Dallas from from Killeen, probably 45 minutes plus or minus, and straight shot to Dallas, which drive time is 2.5 hours, and you're fighting traffic, and the whole time you're just, you're not a happy person. Whereas a helicopter, same flight to Dallas, same airport and everything, is about an hour. So it's 15 minutes longer by helicopter, but the difference is between the two. If you want to come over here and let me show you some of the differences, like on the cockpit. When you look, if it was unlocked, I'd show you. But come over here. Let me show you the cockpit. If you look inside here on the helicopter, you can see everything from the moment you pick up the helicopter and you're looking out. The view is incredible because you have this big bubble windshield. You've got windows all around you. So when you pick it up, you immediately see the airport, the city, the towns, the lake, whatever it is you're flying over. And that's really a lot of fun. So if you ask me which one I'd prefer to fly for fun, taking the family out, hands down the helicopter. Absolutely every day, all day, because this is an extremely fun bird to fly. Any helicopter, in my opinion, is fun to fly. The minute you start it up, you pick up to a hover, you're flying. You take off, you go to your route, you go where you want to go, but you're flying the whole time, and the view is always amazing. Not to contrast too much for an airplane. Airplanes are a lot of fun too. Go a lot higher in an airplane, but the view is limited. As you look up here, there's a dash in front of you, so the windows are smaller. You can tell it right away, and it just gets smaller and smaller. Airlines, you're up much taller, but the cockpits are a little bigger, but the windows get smaller, kind of surprisingly. So really, to see out, if you're sitting inside, your head's right about here, and you're looking up to see over the dash. The joy of flying an airplane is amazing, from stalls to spin recovery to landing an airplane to taking off an airplane. The joy of flight's there on both of them. So I'm not here to talk you into one way or the other. You can be both and you can do both. But the joy of flying an airplane, you're either going to end up in one of three places. You're going to end up as an airline pilot, you'll end up as a corporate pilot, or you'll end up as another category. And the other categories kind of fall into, you could be a bush pilot, you can be a certified flight instructor and make that a career. Not many people do that, but that's typically how they build their flight time. And you can also end up in other careers in fixed wing, such as firefighting. That's another big career, especially in the Northwest. They have big planes, they do a lot of firefighting. You can land a government job, flying government work, doing customs work with fixed wing. And there's a lot of applications for airplanes right now in today's market. And it's just growing and growing and growing, growing every day. The airlines are really hurting right now in 2018 for pilots. So this is one way to go if you're looking for a professional career as a pilot. The airlines, hands down, is a great way to go. Right now, it's good job security. Hasn't always been that way. Right after September 11th happened, the airlines and the market plummeted. People were getting laid off, or they called it furloughed, left and right. Pilots were out of jobs. They were looking for something to do and keep the money flow going until the market picked back up. Thankfully, it picked back up, and they're currently retiring a lot of pilots, so they're about to be short. I read an article, 600,000 pilots are needed in the next 10 years, and I read that article in 2017. Whether that was a true source or not, I think it came from one of the leading magazines. But if you're on the fence on which one to fly, you got to make different choices. Economically, I mean, financially, you know, how much you have to spend, this bad boy is the way to go. You want to be a pilot and you want to do it for the least amount of money, you need to look at airplanes, because airplanes per hour average $100 an hour. 150 to 175 is I've never seen really an airplane rental for more than 150 in the small single engine category. Twin engine category is a different story. Okay, you got two engines you're fighting with, or you're having to rent and pay for. That's just one example of you getting your license in a fixed wing. So you'll spend, today's market, Central Texas, roughly $8,000 to get your private pilot airplane. There's plenty of arguments on it if you'll spend a little more or a little less, and some of it goes back to you as a person and as a pilot. Are you willing to fly once or twice a week? Are you in a flight school program, a Part 141? All that language means is a structured program. Somebody's written out a syllabus saying, from day one, we're going to talk about these 3 topics in a regimented series, or, you know, day 2, we're going to talk about this. That's a regimented program. So on the helicopter side, so now you come over here with helicopters and you're a helicopter pilot, you're flying these suckers. This is an R-44 4-seat helicopter. It's not really something you train in, although they do have trainers of the R-44 are, but you're spending a lot more per hour. The training helicopter is right at $285 an hour without the instructor. With the instructor, you're about $325 to $335 a flight hour. You'll spend roughly $13,000 to $15,000 to get your private pilot helicopter license, depending on where you go. And some schools are higher, and some people charge a little less, and you're at the mercy of that individual instructor or at a flight school program. So that's all today's video was, just kind of introduce you to both. You can do both. They're both extremely exciting careers. I'm one of the guys that has both I've had a helicopter career for 20 years, Black Hawk pilot, and now I own a business where we run helicopters, about to get a second one here in the next 30 days, and then potentially have 3 by the end of the year, just running helicopter tours, all kinds of amazing things from aerial gunnery to hog hunts and things like that, and a very exciting career. And I accepted a career as an airline pilot here in the fixed wing world, so my fixed wing experience and learning is going to grow as well. I'm the kind of guy that loves to fly anything and loves to challenge my mind. It doesn't matter what it is, I just like to be in the air. So again, thanks for watching another video with Freedom Air. I'm Joseph. If you have any questions, reach out to us, freedomair@helos.com. Bye guys.